Hi, everybody. I'm Dylan B. Dickerson White, Mr. Trans USA 2022, and we're here tonight to do our sashing interview with our Miss Trans Illinois, Geneva Janet Matthews. And before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of the interview, I'd like to have her kind of tell us a little bit about herself, and why she decided to do Trans USA this year.
Well, hello, I'm Miss Geneva Richards, and I go by Matthews because that's my permanent name. Um, and the reason I ran for trans is just to get a different outlook on different vibes of our community. Since I'm new at it, because I started at an older age, so I just wanted to see how this platform is made and how's everybody's doing everything. So this is why I'm running.
That's honestly the right idea with it too, because everybody does this a little bit differently,
Yeah.
and everybody has a different story to kind of tell with everyone. So I think that might be the first question we get to in the more serious side of that. But I want to have a little fun because I think people need. We've been trying to have our interview for probably like 4 months, and it's both of us back and forth, like having crazy things happen. And a lot of it has to do with family. So you have a pretty big family. So tell us about your family.
Oh well, Lord have mercy. Well, I have 4 children. I have 3 boys and 1 girl. My daughter is 14. My son is 17. Will be turning 18 this month. And I have a 9 and an 8-year-old.
That's a big responsibility, and you have animals apparently as well in the house.
Yes, I have a rabbit, and his name is called Benny.
Oh,
so that's their emotional support rabbit.
They're like the perfect animals for that too, though. They just sit there and like you pet them, and
they are. So sometimes, as boys, they have to not be so rough when they pick him up, because he will scratch him up and bite him. So that's the lesson they learn when they picking him up. You got to be in a different vibe to pick him up.
Yeah, it's immediately like knowing that'll calm you down enough to be able to do it. It's that little
and it took them a minute to learn. Took them a minute to learn, but they finally got it.
Yeah, but that's one of the things we talked about. Like when you're dealing with 4 kids and all of that together, there's sometimes things just like, okay, maybe today's a little too hectic for us. Maybe so we've been trying, and I'm really finally excited to get to have a chance to sit down with you. And I think that maybe like. See, that was my ADD brain going, because I totally almost forgot the question that I was going to ask you. But I put it back in the back of my head for that. So everybody does this a little bit differently with the platforms they have running for Trans USA, and really some people choose a really specific platform and organization to work with, and some people choose a more broad platform. This year we kind of honed in on that for some people with the Outstanding Advocate Award, and people have chosen different charities. And when you filled out your application, you had picked the Minnesota Aliveness Project, and I specifically have not done my research on them because I'd like to hear from you guys and you girls what it's about. So can you tell us a little about that and why you chose it?
Well, I chose Aliveness Project is because people that are living with HIV, this is a platform for a place where they can go. They sell meals. Well, they don't sell meals. The meals are free. They give away food, so they have their own little food bank for anybody that's living this way, and then they have housing programs. So everything is like in one big community, So when you go there, you get to see everybody from whoever. People with kids that's living with HIV, or kids that have HIV. So they all in one place. So, and that's when you can, mingle with everybody. So that's why I chose that spot. And plus I raised a lot of money for them through the years for that. So
that's
actually, and I am an HIV person. So I don't have a problem with saying that I am the person that's living with it. So that's makes it more amazing for me.
And I think, that personal connection with it too. And I think that maybe, if it's something you're comfortable talking about, the rate of HIV positivity in the trans community is one of the ones that's actually increasing, and I think that's such an important thing to focus on, so I'm really happy that you kind of were comfortable sharing that with us. And I think your story, could really help a lot of people.
Well, of course, because like I said, I got diagnosed, but mine was like way over the board.
Yeah.
So now it's hung back with its none.
Right.
So that what makes it more amazing for me to just keep pushing and make things happen for everyone. Because sometimes that's all you need is one pill or that shot to get you back to where you should be at. But sometimes, like I said, it depends on if you're focused to live. If you're not focused to live, it's not going to work for you.
Right. And you're taking care of yourself to the
That's
important,
what I'm
right?
saying.
Yeah.
As far as drugs or anything, you have to be determined to push all anything aside and focus on your health and what you need to do to get there. Because it was a journey for me, but I knew I didn't have no other choice because I had my children, so
Right.
I had to step up the program.
And that's, and I feel like that again just all ties back to that personal connection you have with the organization you're
Correct.
representing, and how much you can really do for them that way. So
Correct.
thank you again for sharing.
That's okay.
um, so I think that I'm gonna skip around a little bit here,
Sure.
because it's kind of fun to see the different responses and really get into different people's viewpoints on anything. So we've been talking a lot about this idea of trans excellence right now.
Mhm.
And it may have had a different definition for a lot of people before the current climate, but what would you say that really means for you right now?
To me, I think it's been m- more open. And when I say about more open, it's like we have two different sides. We have people that think that what we're doing is wrong, and we have other people that support us. It's just like our family. Some people in our family that think this is wrong, and they call you that certain name that that aggravates you and that ticks you and pisses you off. Sometimes we have to learn to just take that in, and it's not accepted, but just let them have that moment because they probably miss that person that you used to be.
Yeah, and dealing with family aspects of it is so difficult because you may have had time to process everything yourself, but a lot of it, we do have to recognize, I think, that people, they need some time.
Yeah,
And
and to me, just say like I'm just gonna get mad at this person because they call me by my old government name. Sometimes you have to step back and say, well, am I do I really want to lose this relationship for right now? No. You want to at least try to fix it so you can give them time. Because other people they came and they helped you to get to where you are. So you sometimes you have to give other people chances. I mean, yeah, you might hear that name, then you be like, yeah, this is the one. Okay. And you have to take it. I mean, just like me, my kids call me dad every day. There's no mother here. No, we could be anywhere in the store. They'd be like, dad. And all he can do is respond, yes. I get the looks, but do I care? No, I don't, because who I love the most is my child.
yeah,
And I want to make sure their brain is developed so they can understand sometimes the world can be evil.
yeah.
So that's my look on that.
No, I totally understand that completely, actually. I
Yeah,
mean, and everybody has a different sort of take on that, but
it
I
is.
think being able to be compassionate, and a little bit understanding, and kind of just like you said, kind of hold it in, and just really look at the bigger picture. It says a lot.
You have to. You have to because you don't. It definitely if you have children, you don't want your child to feel like that they don't know the truth about you. But then
I
someone else will go Google you and then tease them about who you are. When you had all the opportunity to take care of that of your own time and will.
Yeah.
So I just only thing I want to echo to say is to anybody in this world. Sometimes you have to take two steps. It might not what you want to do, but sometimes you have to do it because our world is very getting crazy.
Yeah, and I think that it might be a good, things are, like you said, things are right now in this country getting a little bit more difficult each day for a lot of trans people, but you are representing, Illinois. So I think, maybe you could tell us what it's like being trans where you are right now.
Well, I live in Minnesota.
Right.
So, we already passed the law
Yeah.
and everything here. So it's like I worked everywhere that in Minnesota and I never had any problem with being who I am. I never had to go out. You get people that say their words, but like I said, you have to have that tough skin. But then you got your coworkers and you got people that know you that will make sure they keep uplifting you every time. I mean, Minnesota, you cannot beat.
Right. They so for everyone out there that didn't hear about the news, would you want to tell everyone what the law was about that they had passed?
Well, just transgender. They can deny any transgender child of any surgery or anything that's providing to transgender. So name change, getting your breast done, or getting the sex change, they cannot deny you.
I mean, it's a huge news. And I believe they were the first state to do so, and then Michigan is going to be following shortly after. I've heard on that. So the Midwest is kind of surprisingly being one of the leaders in this. And you would think back here, on the East Coast, we would have a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
So it's kind of surprising to see where these things are coming from.
yeah. And I always vote for Governor Walz because I always thought he was an amazing man, and definitely because he was a teacher and a motivator. So I knew that voting for him, we will make milestones.
Yeah, and I'm excited to actually see some of the battles being won there, setting a precedent too for every other place around. And I think maybe with you being like in really the epicenter of this and having this sort of positive support, is there maybe something you'd want to say to people living in states where that's really not happening right now and it's a little more difficult?
Well, again, I mean, there's sometimes when you have to take your own space and make your own little private circle to get everybody to understand where you're coming from and what's going on in life. Because before all this even began, we was already in little groups of our own and teaching each other. And I think that we left off of that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's what we need to get back to. Sometimes they say the old, oh no, but right now the mental thing, if you got a circle, you need to grab that circle and you need to hone in on that circle and just let them know it's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it. But we as a people, as a family, we have to let them know we're gonna make it because it's hard.
Yeah, it is. And I think that that brings up a really good point about your circles and the people you look to, the people that teach you. So
Mhm.
I wanted to ask, did you have any like trans role models when you were first coming out?
I did. Well,
Yeah.
I had many of them. I mean, because I was young when I came out, but I didn't like. I think that's what was the problem because I had so many good people. Dominique Mahan, I had Tracy Ross, I had Flame Monroe. I mean, people that I emulated many years that was like, go to school,
Yeah.
get your education. We young, we just trying to get in the bar. And it was like, no, you too young. Go get an education first. This is gonna be here whenever you're done. And guess what? It's still there to this day. And look at me now.
Yeah. that's it's such an
You
really important piece of advice for people too when they think about if they're want, and they always tell you don't put it off, don't put it off, because it does get harder to go back. you know
To me, I just think if everybody just take their time, especially the young ones, Because, it doesn't, it's not easy to hone on a craft or being someone. First, you need to look in there and be who you are. Figure it out. I mean, some people like, well, maybe you need to love that boy, that who you are, and then love that girl because there was something drama with that boy before you turned into that girl. So you got to fix him before you can get to her.
I think that, yeah, it just I wanted to kind of speak a little bit on that too. Yeah, it's you really about loving. You have this like, great um, dialogue here and just this bubbly personality about some really difficult things, and that's just such a it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to get there, and so I just kind of wanted to, you know, have you kind of maybe what would you kind of say to some of the younger ones right now that are really just beginning?
Well, basically, I mean, like, mm, I mean, when you coming up, most of them has been homeless, or most of them been abused or molested, and they want a quick out. And I thought that was the way that I wanted to be, but I still had to figure out who I was in the inside, not as just a person, but just who my mother had,
Yeah,
and to fix that person. Because if I fix that person, then I knew this Blossom person will come out much better than that person because I already fixed him. He's okay now. But then I had to make sure now she can be well and she can
yeah.
be fruitful for life. Because if you don't take care of that, then you're going to lose out.
You're absolutely right on that too, and I think that's an important part that people miss. That transitioning is it's not something that just fixes all your problems.
No, it doesn't.
They're still going to be, and they might even be amplified.
It
As you're going through it.
it is. It's like don't matter what you do in life, you always gonna have something to block you.
Yeah,
But then it's gonna have to take you to say, okay, I'm gonna deal with that situation. And I always call it's called R&R. It's called think before you react.
yeah, absolutely, and that comes with time too.
It
That
does.
skill.
And see, this is what I'm saying with our children, if our children don't have the tools to work that, it doesn't matter if they're trans or not. If they don't have the tools to understand that, then we're gonna be keep doing what we're doing here. People getting killed, getting shot because we're not teaching our children the first step. You got to think before you react.
and and as you know, with the title, getting back to kind of the pageant side, like our reactions to things kind of they're the things that get put out there. Like when we as title holders say something, people take that and they run with it. So you having
Yeah,
that kind of like
I've,
that knowledge of, okay, I got to think a little bit before I speak, I'm going to do this the right way. I think that's so important. Like,
I've been there.
yeah. Oh, I mean, I in my past, I guarantee can even pull stuff up from a few years ago. Where it's like, oh, shouldn't have said that, but
Yeah, I've been there. I
but,
know. I
but
know.
I think we're kind of jumping around a little bit here, but I think that this might be a really good time to ask a sort of more broad question about
Sure.
pageantry, because we are still, as much advocacy work, there is the pageant part of it. So
Sure.
why do you think today, when anybody could pretty much become a social media star, like why is pageantry itself still important?
For us, it's been around for decades, and I don't think we should ever take away something that I don't want to say our ancestors, but our sisters before us, and our brothers before us, and they made it so popular and made it so much better for us to deal with our own,
Yeah,
and even the straight people.
people are getting brought into the community now because of it. Yeah, and
because
really,
of that.
yeah,
At first, back then it was Sean Den, but now it's like, okay, they're open. I see. They see us raising money. They see us trying to make sure everybody is safe, not just
yeah,
ours, but everybody.
yeah.
And
That
who wouldn't want us on their team?
right. I mean, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, but that you're so right about that. The visibility and the impact that we
Yes,
have, like
we do.
that's definitely something that makes it worth it.
We do. And that's what makes us amazing all the time.
Absolutely. So kind of like jumping from that. So about the national pageant. I mean, I have to ask because I always ask people this question. Like, is there any one particular category you're maybe most nervous about?
This one.
Oh, the interview one. I think
Mhm.
that's the one that most people say. But as you've kind of learned with me, I mean, I'll be in the room, so if you just pretend you're talking to me.
Okay.
But it's because it's one of those things where we're asking you about kind of your real experiences, your real take on things. So it's not. And I'm pretty sure if someone does, I will yell at the and throw it out. What kind of fruit would you be kind of question.
Huh?
No, nobody's gonna ask anything like that.
I'm about to say how many kids I got.
Like it's nobody's gonna ask anything like that. So it's gonna be stuff that you can actually speak on and everything. So
Okay.
it's similar to kind of what some of the questions that we're asking.
Okay.
On the flip side of that, is there anyone that you're most excited about?
I think everybody know I've been posting about Miss I gotta get her name right. Chelsea Pearl. I just she has a credible vibe, and I think she's very visible, and she loves to, talk to girls and love on us. So
I got you.
she's an amazing girl. Even though we haven't met yet, but she's still amazing, and a couple other girls that I think is yeah
Yeah. No, I totally understand.
yeah.
I think maybe this is more of a little fun kind of question because we talked about your and so kind of related. We talked about your charity and why you're doing the important work you're doing with the Aliveness Project. But if I had given you, let's say, $10,000 to start your own project of any kind,
Mhm.
what would you do with that?
I would definitely have a trans youth center or homeless shelter, which I would deal with the mothers that have trans kids and they don't have a place to live, or I would use all that just for that, because I think sometimes people have the wrong stigma about people and their kids, and the ones that love on their kids because they're trans.
Yeah,
You know, I, parents really get the shaft
yeah.
when they're
When they're
living on their trans kids.
and you're doing the best to support your kids through this, and I think that
Yeah,
that says a lot about where we came from too,
yeah,
because
it is.
parents like, even like for my generation that was never a thing. Like you didn't even
My
want to tell
mother's
anybody.
my mother still don't accept me to this day. So only thing I can do is, like I said, you gotta have a strong skin to just let people go on as their life. But if you love them, you will just go ahead and let them have that moment, because they miss that who you were. So
No, I definitely I get that. And I think that this is like as we were talking about too, like just if I may ask,
mhm.
if you had gotten that kind of support from your family, what would that have done for you? I know it's a hard thing to talk about, but
I wouldn't know, because I am the oldest of four other boys, so I'm the oldest, and it's like my mother was not like there for them, so I had to be.
oh, okay, yeah.
So I was already a mother way before I had children.
You
So
had that
yeah,
motherly nature about you even
right. And I
before
think
that.
that's where my transness come from, for just doing too much caring and loving and here she is. But I always wanted my own children, so I definitely, God made that happen for me. So I'm definitely
And four of
blessed
them.
with the same. That's
Four.
crazy.
And I think you told me one story about somebody hid your cell phone or something, like one of your kids. That was
That's ain't
funny. I was
all.
like, you know
They
what?
do so much in here. They do, but I love them. I love them and I appreciate them because I think that some of me wouldn't be who I be today. You know,
Yeah, no, it's totally when because I don't have my own kids, but I have drag kids about a decade younger than
I
me,
those
and
too.
and a nephew, and it's one of those things they end up teaching you quite a bit, and
Yeah, because sometimes they ask them questions, and as an adult, you have to sit down and explain to them. You
yeah,
know,
because I'm never one of those people that just says, oh, just because I feel like the kids go, they
they
deserve a
want to.
better
They
answer,
always gonna. They want to know,
yeah, and
and they always. And I always tell my kids, I said, I didn't start doing this till I was 31. So I don't know, honey. I couldn't tell you if I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't tell my child at 9 years old that he wanted to put on a dress at that moment.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I just, I couldn't. I mean, we'll have to work, work.
yeah,
Because I would want you to want it, but I would want you to desire it. Because
yeah.
when you get to a certain age and your freedom rides, and then you can be like, "Ah, nobody can tell me anything."
I getting to that point, yeah, that takes kind of a lot.
It does.
It does.
It does. So I'm just like I said, when my daughter told me she was coming out, that was like different. But what I could do,
Yeah,
anything. I just loved her and just told her just be safe. Don't do anything that's gonna harm you.
yeah,
Still be who you are and don't let nobody change you. And that's the only advice I could have for her.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just even that little bit of like someone, even knowing that somebody's looking out for you like that.
Yeah.
I think that it's a huge comfort for a lot of people. And I think I have just, we have a couple of fun little questions before wrapping
Oh,
up. There's
okay.
always the one that I ask at the end, but I know you said you had a rabbit there, the emotional support rabbit,
Would
and
you
of
like to
course,
see him?
I mean, actually, yes. Let's see it. Oh, oh dear, that is so adorable. I just, I the thing is, I always had asked for a rabbit, but when I was growing up, but I had a dog, and even now I have dogs, so they would not be okay with that because they chase everything. Um, but it's so cute. I'm
Oh,
one of those animal people too, so
yeah.
if I could have every animal, like I'm like Noah, I swear. Um, but my question was really about so we had talked about the normal pets we have, like bunnies and cats and dogs, but if you could have an exotic animal of any kind, do you know what that would be? I mean, I spend loads of time thinking about these kinds of silly questions.
I think it would have to be one of those little monkeys. Those
Oh,
little those little cute ones.
the
Yeah.
ones, yeah, oh my god, I have heard so many stories
Uh,
about them, like running and taking, like pickpocketing people, and like
yes.
you
Oh
know
my
uh
God.
so
They are amazing. And they seem
that's
like so little bitty humans.
they're so smart. That's the thing. They can like change the channel on TVs. Apparently, I had a friend who, I guess his roommate had one. So it's like, yeah, they tell me all these stories about how he used to watch Animal Planet and get mad if you change the channel for the
Oh
monkey.
my God. Yeah, because I seen them a lot and I was like, oh, but they can't be in America.
Yeah, there's little restrictions about some animals. I think the ones that I would like, otters. You're not allowed to have them in.
Yes.
So, uh,
Yeah.
and even some places you're not allowed to own hedgehogs. I think certain states. So it's kind of crazy. sorry, I have to ask at least a few silly things. So as we wrap up, it's the question I always ask at the end because we do talk about during the interviews a lot of the issues facing the community, a lot of the big
Mhm.
projects that we want to do, and things we want to do for other people, the community at large. But we're talking about November, come nationals. What would you like to take away from the experience when you get there?
Friendship, sisterhood, um, more acceptance, more accountability from us as a group, as a family, because I think sometimes we're not taking accountability for us because we're right now we're hurt. I get it,
Yeah.
but now we need to still take accountability for ourselves too, and
No, right?
let's make things happen. Because if we don't, then they're gonna keep doing this at us.
Yeah.
So
And
sometimes we're gonna have to, and this is why I love my friends here too, because if I'm out of place or out of line, I get that, and they will put me there to get me back to where I need to be.
Yeah, you wanna put that dish in your mouth.
Hello, my name is Geneva Matthews, and I'm running for Miss Trans. I am Miss Trans Illinois, and my platform is to make sure everybody understands who we are and where we come from, including our children and our family. I come a long way in this transition, and I am happy and grateful for all the opportunities I do have. And even, just trying to teach my children that it's okay to be themselves, regardless of what anyone says. And sometimes it's difficult, but I'm here to make it look easy and great. So, again, I am Miss Illinois, and I'm running for Miss Trans. And I wish everyone good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, you wanna put that dish in your mouth.